Hey guys, it's me, Matt, another Barn Door Cycling. So today we're doing something a little different. We're looking at skating. And today's video is if you're a bigger, older dude and you want to get into inline skating, I mean, there's probably somebody out there like me who wants to, do that. This is a video for you. So first off, how did I get into skating? Well, when I was a kid, I loved to skate. I was never good at it. I just really liked going around and doing the skating. And, it felt a lot like a racetrack to me and I enjoyed it. And inline skates are something I always kind of wanted to try because, in the 80s they were huge and cool, and that was something I never got a chance to really even try them or use them. So I had something happen to me in 2012. I got laid off my teaching job I'd been doing for 8 years. I loved and I thought I was going to retire doing, and it kind of it's one of them things where it kind of messed with me, in a way. It kind of left me a little bit down, I suppose. And I remember one day we were shopping at Goodwill. Me and my wife loved to check out the thrift stores, and I saw these and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. I didn't really know what they were other than inline skates, but they didn't look like the cheap, cheesy, plasticky skates that I'm used to. So turns out these are for inline hockey, and they were probably not necessarily ideal for me, but anyway, $8. I got into these, and it created a bit of an obsession with me. Now, I was bike riding back then too, I'd been riding a lot at that point in my life, but almost to the point where I needed something else to do, because I was riding. You can only ride so much, and then you need something else. So let's talk about benefits. Why would you want to do this? Well, first off, it's a great workout. It's a great cardio workout. Whereas skating, you put your skates on, you're out the door, and you don't need to wear any special clothes. You can wear whatever you're wearing. You put your inlines on, whatever other gear you're going to use, and you go out the door. And for me, about 30 minutes is typically about all I want to skate. Maybe, I think I got up to where I was skating for about an hour when I was doing it a lot. But the lower back, that's another thing. Like for me, I found that it's a great exercise. When you inline skate, you really want to, sort of bend over. You're almost in like a squat position in a way. And I found it really good exercise for my lower back and throughout my whole body. So cycling locks you into a particular motion. You're sitting on the saddle, you're all locked in, you can really only move your legs a certain way, and it's all about producing power in that particular position. Whereas inline skating there's so much more different form and style. You're so much more free when you do it. So that's something. It's cheap. It's relatively cheap, depending on what you think cheap is, but most people that are hardcore cyclists probably pay just about as much for their cycling shoes as you would pay for a good set of inlines. All right, it's fun. It's just a lot of fun. Like I said, there's so much freedom into it, and then there's so many different ways you can do it. So it turns out to be a very fun thing to do, I think. So something that balance, you can really work on your balance. I think I've kind of known as having really good balance on a bike, and skating helped me a lot on that. It just made my ability to sort of kind of keep balance so much better, because it forces you to, if you don't want to fall down, you got to stay balanced. And then toughness, it really toughens you up. There's a lot of injury involved, but also you're putting a lot of strain in different parts of your body that you don't normally strain, since you're using those all these different muscles that you don't use on a bike when you ride. But that being said, it is actually really, really similar. The muscles groups are pretty similar in a lot of ways too. So it is a great complement for cycling. You got all these benefits. You want to get into it. What do you need? Well, first off, you're going to need some equipment, and ideally, of course, you're going to need skates. So like I said, these were hockey skates, and what makes them hockey skates, they lace up really tight up. They go up pretty high, lace all the way, no buckles, no ratchets. And these were inlines. Hockey skates often have a rocker setup, so they have a really short frame. They have smaller wheels that are a little higher in the front, bigger wheels in the back for, I guess, speed or something. And they're designed to be very maneuverable. They're designed to be turned pretty tightly, and a lot of control. Imagine when somebody's playing hockey, they need to accelerate really fast, they need to be able to stop really fast, they need to be able to change direction really fast. So that's why they're not very stable, and these things took a lot of my skin. I did not realize what kind of skates I was starting on, and they were really hard to learn to skate on. The smaller wheels on the front caused me a lot of problems. I had a lot of blisters, I had a lot of pain, and these were terrible. So, but you know, even though I hate them now, they really got me. See, I don't even have a wheel for this one. All right, so let's look at skates. This is my newest one. I did a video about these the other day. This is my Roller Derby Elite 110s. So a tri-skate, 3 big wheels. So this is sort of like a kind of a fitness free ride skate, you know. So you got this hard boot. It's got the buckles. This is pretty close to what, you know, was popular in the 80s. The roller blades that had multiple buckles and ratchets and stuff on them, and a lot of times they didn't even have laces. These do have laces, but they don't really do anything. You could leave them out. This is a hard shell, so the hard shell skate has like a soft shell insert. They're really comfortable. They're very supportive. They really hold your foot really well, keep it up really well. Another type of skate you might get into is a speed skate, and this is a speed skate. So speed skates, much lower, generally carbon fiber instead of any kind of soft, so they're pretty firm, pretty stiff, designed for speed. This is a much longer frame for stability, because when you're going really fast, you want the most stable wheels. You don't want to fall down. These are like 80 something, 90. These are 84 millimeter wheels. This frame will take up to 100, so you got wheel size. I'm not going to go into all the details and stuff about wheel size and frames and stuff like that. If you're a new skater, you don't want these. These are not great to start in. If you're a new skater, you don't want hockey skates unless you specifically are, you know, wanting to learn to play hockey. You want something like this. These 110 wheels, to me, you could probably start with these, but you're probably better off starting with just a basic 4x80. You can find those, and there's like Rollerblade Spark, I think, is their like standard 4x80. You'll oftentimes see them called like fitness skates, recreational skates. They're not really particularly good at one thing. They're not really fast. They're not slow. They're not super turny, but they're pretty stable. They're just good all around. And then if you like them, you can maybe try, you know, getting into something else. Besides skates, you're going to want some protective equipment. And for me, this is a pretty key piece right here. These are wrist guards, and you're going to want some wrist guards. Okay, so they go around your wrist, they wrap around. What I like about wrist guards is that most of the falls I have in skating are because I run, especially when I started, I would run into something, a wheel would get stuck, I would lose my balance and fall forward. You put your hands out like this. If you don't have these on, you could possibly break your wrist because you land on your wrist so hard. But more than likely, you're just going to chew your hand all up. It's going to really mess it up. So it's got this plastic right here that is going to absorb, you know, and keep your hand from getting damaged, and also keep your hand from getting bent backwards and prevent some wrist injuries. These things are not uncomfortable. They're a little annoying, you know, I mean, to put on, but they're not uncomfortable. They don't cause you like, they don't look dorky, you know, if that's important to you. So I don't think they look dorky. So these are pretty sweet, and I would definitely recommend starting with these. Knee pads. I have some knee pads. I don't hardly ever use knee pads anymore. My thoughts on knee pads are that when I started off, I used them a lot, but they didn't generally help me all that much. If you've ever seen roller derby girls or roller derby guys, they tend to have these huge knee pads that really wrap around your whole knee. They're huge. You might use those if you're doing hockey or something too. Those would probably help. But they're kind of overkill too. So, you know, like if you were to get knee pads, if you're really worried about falling and getting hurt, don't get the little kind of like I got, little small. I should go get them and show them to you. I don't want to be lazy. So these are the little knee pads I got. They're not hot. They're comfortable. They cover your knee. You got to put them on like through it, and they have some Velcro to wrap around. Both my knee pads are scuffed up. Both of them have been used and saved some skin on my knees. So the problem I had with them is a lot of times too, I would still end up with hurt somewhere else. I haven't used these in quite a while, but when you do fall on them, when you're first starting especially, and you land on your knees, it's really nice to have these. So yeah. Other things, elbow guards, elbow pads. I've never had a set of them. I don't know. I never fell on my elbow. I never really hurt my arms. If you fall backwards and you land on your elbow, I think you could be pretty seriously injured, but I just never did. I did fall backwards a couple times. I always landed on my rear, which hurt, but I never really needed them. I don't think that they really were important for me. And then helmets, I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't say, but I've never worn a helmet when I skate. Something real important that you wouldn't think of, socks. All right, so socks are important. They make a huge difference, especially when you first start off, because you're going to be dealing with blisters. Socks can make a huge difference whether you continue skating or get mad and quit. So these are neoprene socks. They're called gator socks. They got holes in them. They're worn out. I've had these now. I bought these for mountain biking, and they turned out to be awesome for skating. I have never gotten a blister when I started using these, and I used to get incredibly bad blisters. We talked about the benefits. We talked about the equipment you need. I want to talk about cons really quick, negatives to skating. First off, there's a really high learning curve. I actually really liked that. It wasn't easy. It was actually hard for me. The physical part was hard. The mental part was hard. That was one of the biggest challenges to me, and that's what I enjoyed so much. It was mentally challenging because it's so scary. You don't have a break. So when you're trying to learn how to skate, especially when you get any kind of even slight downhills and you start moving without actually pushing yourself forward, it's scary, and it's really exciting and interesting too to learn how to control it. So learning curve though, it does take a while for me. It did take me a while. I mean, there was a lot of falling, a lot of lost skin, a lot of pain, a lot of blisters. But once I kind of started figuring out what I was doing, all that kind of changed, especially when I started getting into skates with bigger wheels. Like I was using these ones that had like 74 millimeter front wheels, and you'd hit a rock and the skate would just be like, boom, and you'd go, ah, all right. So blisters, like I said, road rash, there's a lot, you're gonna fall if you're on rough concrete. You get some pretty rough road rash. It's usually there for about a week or two, and it's pretty uncomfortable. And then one thing is that you might end up kind of looking like a dork if you're rollerblading. I mean, I don't care if I look like a dork. It's not the most popular thing in the world to do, but it's growing. I've been seeing more and more people out inline skating on our trails. And then of course you have to have a place to do it. If you don't have a big safe parking lot, if you don't have some really empty roads, if you don't have some like recreational fitness type trails, you may not even have a place to do this. But I have like multiple places where I can go skate, and I live in a pretty small town. So I mean, really the cons are pretty small in my opinion. If you don't mind maybe a little bit of pain and suffering to learn what you're doing. So that's my video on being a bigger guy, being an older guy, and doing something that you think only young people do. I mean, like, it's not just for young people. You need to be active, you need to be fit, you need to find things that you enjoy. So why not inline skating? See ya.